Welcome everybody to Clarky's Closet. Today we're going to have a listen to some of my comedy songs, comical songs. Some from my musicals and some from elsewhere, else time. Hello everybody, hope you're all well. For today's show, there's a bit of a mixture. The first song I'm going to play for you won me first place in the South Pacific Song Contest in 1996, I'm very proud to say. I originally wrote the music to this. The song itself was called Kevin Clark's a Bastard, because Kevin Clark was a good friend of my dad's, and he was retiring at the time. This is some years ago now I wrote this, must have been 25, 30 years ago. Anyway, I played it at his retirement and everyone thought it was funny, gave everybody the words. And then when I was writing my second musical comedy, Ponsonby's Castle, I decided that I'd put this song in, but with different lyrics. And so Chip Wood gets to sing this one. He's a real ochre Australian. And so the lyrics to the song reflect his ochreness. And if you don't know what an ochre is, it's the real Australian, you know what I'm saying? So they say in Australia that we talk with our mouths closed out in the country so the flies don't get in. And Chip Wood is one of those. So I got to dress up as an ochre with the old, pot belly. These days I probably don't need as much padding as I did then, but big pot belly, wearing the terry toweling hat, cigarettes, on the top of the shoulder there, as people used to do in the 70s, and zinc cream on the nose, and wandered around. I actually opened the South Pacific Song Contest with that. I think I scared some of the patrons. And this is it. I'm going to play it for you now. This is comedy song number 1 today, I Am an Australian.
I put zinc cream on my nose, I am an Australian. I wear thongs between me toes, I am an Australian. A cobra hat upon me head, I am an Australian. Fresh undies on, just like Mum said, I am an Australian. I am an Australian, I am an Australian. G'day mate, how's it going? I am an Australian. When I lose me job, I don't feel bad, I am an Australian. 'Cause I live at home with me mum and dad, I am an Australian. I let girls pay when I go on dates, I am an Australian. But you gotta shout when you're with your mates, I am an Australian. I am an Australian, I am an Australian. G'day mate, how's it going? I am an Australian. Whatever you do, don't work too hard and take it easy, mate. You take black money when you can, and every single break. Hey, take it easy, stuff the boss, don't work too hard. Got a horse named Trigger and a dog named Blue, I am an Australian. Me greyhound's got this grouse tattoo, I am an Australian. Me Holden panel van's unreal, I am an Australian. And me Victor mower's got mag wheels, I am an Australian. I am an Australian, I am an Australian. G'day mate, how's it going? I am an Australian. No worries pal, and she'll be sweet and she'll be apple son. 'Cause near enough is good enough, so get back on your bum. Hey, take a sickie, it's what they're there for, don't work too hard. I love sport and surf and sun, I am an Australian. And me speedos crawl right up me bum, I am an Australian. I hate politicians and me boss, of course, I am an Australian. But I love kangaroos in tomato sauce, I am an Australian. I am an Australian, I am an Australian. G'day mate, how's it going? I am an Australian. I am an Australian, I am an Australian. G'day mate, how's it going? I am an Australian.
I was laughing to myself as I listened to that song then, because in Australia we call what Americans and British call flip-flops, we call them thongs. These days, of course, most people know what we mean when we're talking about a young lady wearing a thong. But my mum said, oh, yes, I love wearing thongs. And she was in her 50s at the time, and the American people were looking at each other, oh, really? And, she's saying, oh, yeah, that's all I wear. I don't wear anything else, just thongs on the beach. So anyway, this next song I'm going to play for you is the opening song to Wayne Kerr High. I did a show on Wayne Kerr High where I played about half a dozen of the songs from that particular show. It was my 5th musical comedy. It was played at Windsor High School in 1999, and you have to imagine the typical school hall we have in Australia with a proscenium arch stage at the front with a curtain that opens up. And when it did, there's a whole bunch of school kids, and one of them gets up, and she's pretty rough. Her name's Raylene, and on all of the seats in the audience, we'd left the words to the school song. So she gets up and she says, right, everyone, stand up. Come on, stand up. And everybody has to stand up and sing the following song, Wayne Kerr High.
My father was a Wayne Kerr man. His father was one too. And all we Wayne Kerr students here are Wayne Kerrs through and through. How I love the Wayne Kerr life, the Wayne Kerr life's for me. So if you are a Wayne Kerr man, come sing along with me. Wayne Kerr High, Wayne Kerr High, we are truly Wayne Kerrs. Wayne Kerr High, Wayne Kerr High, we are truly Wayne Kerrs. Each girl and boy should sing with joy, for we are truly Wayne Kerrs. Our teachers love we Wayne Kerr kids, we love the Wayne Kerr staff. The sound of Wayne Kerr laughter rings from every Wayne Kerr class. A Wayne Kerr lad's a happy lad, a Wayne Kerr lass is gay. So all we little Wayne Kerrites would dearly love to say, Wayne Kerr High, Wayne Kerr High, we are truly Wayne Kerrs. Wayne Kerr High, Wayne Kerr High, we are truly Wayne Kerrs. Each girl and boy should sing with joy, for we are truly Wayne Kerrs.
The Wayne Kerr School Song. If you're interested in that particular show, I go into a lot more detail in the first season. I think it's would be the 5th show, because it was the 5th musical comedy. In the first season of Clarky's Closet, 9 of the 10 songs are about my musical comedies. So let's move on now to, there's an old joke, Benny Hill, the British comedian, always doing the corny stuff. He used to do a gag about get along little doggie, like a dachshund, I suppose. Dachshund, I don't know, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But those sausage dogs, they call them, don't they? Get along little doggie, as opposed to the American prairie, get along little doggie. And so I made a bit of fun of that particular phrase in the next song. And there's also another play on words, which you may find amusing or you may not. Here it is. Get along, little doggy.
As a child, when I sang, children laughed at me. Said I sounded like Pa giving birth. Well, I tried to form bands, but 'cause I had no friends, I kinda got left on the shelf. I soon learned that nobody loved me, that I was alone on this earth. So from Texas to Tennessee, from Georgia to Kentucky, I learned to play with myself. 'Cause I got a long little doggie, and I got long hair as well. I love that show Nashville, and I ain't too bashful to tell you that I love the South. And I got a dusty old pickup. My guitar's got a pickup as well. I play with my mother, my sister and brother, but mostly I play with myself. Used to sit on my porch in the evening and yodel Hank Williams all night. I always played solo, 'cause by then I already knowed I'd never have me a wife. Now I play my guitar in them old country bars. To be honest, I'm no man of wealth. Sometimes my sis plays and Ma comes on Sundays, but mostly I play with myself. 'Cause I got a long little doggie, and I got a long hair as well. I love that show Nashville, and I ain't too bashful to tell you that I love the South. 'Cause I got a dusty old pickup. My guitar's got a pickup as well. I play with my mother, my sister and brother, but mostly I play with myself. Here is a toast to the South and to country. Let's all drink to Confederate health. I can't wander too far, 'cause my beat up guitar and I just ain't feeling that swell. I am bullied and sad and I'm lonely, but I play with the cards that I'm dealt. I am misunderstood, Ma washed out my mouth good. When I told her I played with myself. 'Cause I got a long little doggie, and I got long hair as well. I love that show Nashville, and I ain't too bashful to tell you that I love the South. 'Cause I got a dusty old pickup. My guitar's got a pickup as well. I play with my mother, my sister and brother. Mostly I play with myself.
They say there's no such thing as an old joke. You've either heard it before or you haven't. So the next song I'm going to play for you today is something very dear to my heart, and I thank Elon Musk for the following song, because we talked about it for a long time, but eventually we bought ourselves a Tesla battery so that our lights don't go out when everybody else's do, and we stand out on the porch and we say, "Sucko, we've still got power and you're in the dark." We don't really do that. We are Australian, but we're not entirely uncouth. But it is a great thing, saves you lots of money, and I became a bit obsessed with this. I've got to say, I did. I became a bit obsessed with this in the early days, and I started working out exactly how much current all of the appliances drew. Like, for example, the kettle nudges 2.2, the microwaves at 1.9 kilowatt hours. And I got right into it, and even on one occasion phoned up my daughter because I got the Tesla app on my phone, and I noticed that it was up because the house usually just sits at about 0.3, 0.4, but it was up. It was up at about 2, and that told me straight away that my daughter was having a shower. So I phoned up about 5 minutes later and I said, "Get out of the bloody shower." And she told me where to go. So this song's about a guy who becomes so obsessed with his Tesla battery that things don't go so well for him. This is I Got a Tesla.
I woke up late this morning, the kilowatts were hitting 2.2, but I didn't turn on the air conditioning as I once used to do. 'Cause though the day was freezing, the sun was shining bright, and 'cause it was winter I realised that the sun was setting early and was gone by 5 and we'd pay for it later tonight. I got a Tesla, I know exactly what I'm paying for. Since I got a Tesla battery, I could wish for nothing more. I got a Tesla, I want sunny days to shine forevermore. I got a Tesla battery, fresh from the factory, I'd become a kilowatt whore. Now when I'm cooking dinner, I only use the barbecue. 'Cause if I turn the oven on, I'm wasting 3.2. It's 1.9 for the microwave and the kettle matches 2.2. I'm saving trees and I'm saving money, and forget about that cup of tea until the charging's through. I got a Tesla, I know exactly what I'm paying for. Since I got a Tesla battery, I could wish for nothing more. I got a Tesla, I want the sunny days to shine forevermore. I got a Tesla battery, fresh from the factory, I've become a kilowatt whore. And if my daughter has a shower, I keep an eye on the Tesla app. I phone her up from work to yell, "Turn off that bloody hot tap." I get upset when it's cloudy, I get angry when it pours, I get furious when the night time comes and I'm on the grid once more. To keep the battery topped up, the ironing is never done. I don't put the toaster on in the morning till the solar hits 2.1. I've disengaged the bathroom heater, those things eat the power away. It's cold in the morning, complains my wife, but I reply it's a sacrifice that I'm prepared to make. I got a Tesla, I know exactly what I'm paying for. Since I got a Tesla battery, I could wish for nothing more. I got a Tesla, I want sunny days to shine forevermore. I got a Tesla battery, fresh from the factory, I've become a kilowatt whore. We never turn the lights on, everything's off at the wall. I keep a reserve at 30% in case we have a storm. Then if we have a blackout, I'm surly and I'm torn. Oh, should I use the battery or should I wait for the electricity that I must then ignore? I got a Tesla, I know exactly what I'm paying for. Since I got a Tesla battery, I could wish for nothing more. I got a Tesla, I want sunny days to shine forevermore. I got a Tesla battery, fresh from the factory. My wife and daughter say that they're leaving me. Why oh why can neither of them see how much better off we all are than before?
The Tesla. Actually, it's closer to the truth than I would actually like to admit. I did drive the girls absolutely crazy by pointing out exactly how much each particular apparatus in the house took, needed, required, and they didn't care at all. I don't know if it's what we would call in Australia a bloke thing. Perhaps it is. Women in general don't seem all that interested in the Tesla battery. I'm sure there are some. But I think the vast majority, it's rather like a bloke who comes in and points out how magnificent his stereo is or his new CD player or whatever his latest technological triumph is, as if we own it. I don't understand how anything works. was that book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. So you can either just ride your motorbike, or you can understand exactly how it works. Well, I don't think many people understand how anything works these days. I certainly don't. The next song takes me back to me youth. We used to live at Carlingford, and we used to go down the bush and drink illegally, as most kids do in most countries where they can afford it. And this is a story about, well, it's a made-up story, but it's the sort of thing that used to happen when we went out and sat in the bush and drank beer, because we didn't need too much beer to get tanked in those days. It's a story about a kid called Barry who went out howling at the moon with his mates, as you do, and he ended up getting into some trouble. This is his story, the sad story of Barry.
Do. We went down the bush with some kids from school. We got a little stoned and a lot drunk too. Then we ran round and howled at the moon. Barry from the 7th grade fell over a cliff. He landed in the river and got drenched to the skin. So we guzzled on the flag and then we laughed in the fit. And then we ran round and howled at the moon.
Man, we'd sing, and in the morning would ring with laughter. We would sing, yes, run round, howled at the moon. Barry got bitten by a big green thing. He crawled right up his trouser leg and bit his thing. He started throwing up, so we continued to sing, and then we ran round and howled at the moon. Barry was complaining, so we looked at his dick. Man, it was as swollen as a household brick. So we guzzled on the flag and then we laughed in a fit. And then we ran round and howled at the moon. Man, we'd sing, and in the morning would ring with laughter. We would sing, yeah, and run round, howled at the moon. School days, these were the cool days. You got played for a fool always if you acted uncool. School times, Brandavino and red wine. These were the good times, as long as the fool wasn't you. And Barry was out for the fool. Well, sometime in the morning, about 2 or 3, Barry was unconscious underneath the tree. So we threw away his trousers and continued to sing, and then we ran round and howled at the moon. We left Barry by the side of the road. He was totally naked, his dick a bloated toad. We left an empty flagon and a note that we wrote, saying snapped out to howl at the moon. Barry got pneumonia, he almost died. They asked us how it happened, so of course we lied. He got grounded next night, we got high, then we ran round and howled at the moon. We used to see Barry now and then at school. When we did in unison, we'd grab our tools, and all in one accord we would jump and applaud. Hey, Benza, sit down to howl at the moon. A man would sing, and the morning would ring with laughter, and we would sing. Yes, the morning would ring with laughter. Yes, we would sing. Yeah, the morning would ring with laughter, and we would sing. Yes.
They were good days. Remember one evening, Glenn fell off a rock. He was actually only about 2 inches from the ground below him. He was going, oh, well, he's hanging on for grim death. And he was 2 inches above the ground. We used to have a great time. That, as I said, is not a true story, but we did have a lot of fun in those days. Because don't forget, in Australia, the legal drinking age is 18. And so therefore we were about 16 or 15 or 16 at the time. But it was much easier in those days. Things were pretty easy going way back in the 70s when I was a teenager. You know, you could get away with stuff like that. Go drinking pub at 17, nobody asked any questions. Ah, the old days, eh? Where have they gone? We're all so politically correct, and we've got to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's, and you know what I'm talking about, I think. Everyone seems to agree with me. I haven't found anybody yet who actually admits to be politically correct. Everybody says, I bloody agree with you, mate. Over here anyway, you know. People I talk to, well, they're old white blokes like me, so I suppose it's to be expected. You're preaching to the crowd that you already know will agree with you, which is what most people do on the internet anyway, I suspect. Okay, and to finish off today, the very last song for today is the Genetic Disorder song. I had a dream. I got to tell you this story before I play you the song. I have a lot of weird dreams, I'm sure most people do, that don't sleep all that well. It's when you remember them. In this dream, I was looking at the world. If you can imagine, I was in space. If you were in space looking across Australia, so that Western Australia was at the top of your frame and beyond that the Indian Ocean, and then I'd zing back the other way and look across the Pacific, if you get the idea. And then I was talking to a singing can of beans for teeth that had pearls, and it sang the whole chorus pretty well to this song. And the funny thing was, I completely forgot about this tune. But fortunately, in those days, I always kept one of those old dictaphones, tape dictaphones, by the side of my bed. And I'd taped it, the whole chorus. There it was. There was my opening song for The God Show in 1997. Here it is, the Genetic Disorder song. It won me Thanks for Coming Award 2 in the National Song Contest. I was a finalist. Yes, I got into the finals. They didn't say how many people got into the finals, but I did with this next song.
I just caught a genetic disorder. I just scored a red genetic disease. I just caught a genetic disorder. Just scored a red genetic disease. Yesterday I noticed that my bottom had caved in. I had to get my mom to put a plunger on the skin. Later when I coughed, I found my tonsils on the ground. My leg is turning sideways and my dicky bird is upside down, 'cause I just caught a genetic disorder. I just scored a red genetic disease. I just caught a genetic disorder. Just scored a red genetic disease. I think my nose is fraternizing with my upper lip. I gotta grow a motor, stop and kissing while I sleep. My eyes keep turning inward, I keep looking at my brain, which is really very pleasant if you're in the constant pain. 'Cause I just caught a genetic disorder. I just scored a red genetic disease. I just caught a genetic disorder. Just caught a red genetic disease. My belly button disappeared and surfaced on my shoe. My colon started sneezing, now my anus has the flu. The skin beneath my armpit's getting tighter all the time. Now every time I raise my arms, I nearly crack my spine. It's like I just caught a genetic disorder. I just scored a red genetic disease. I just caught a genetic disorder. Just caught a red genetic disease. My nipples keep on jumping up and running up the walls, and arguing and tangling and playing tug-of-war. One nipple wants to lactate and start suckling small things. The second one thinks likewise, but the third one disagrees. My heart is taking up the drums, my brain is on the bass. My lungs have started wearing tights and taking up ballet. My tongue is in love with my throat and keeps on trying to quarter. My left head thinks it's Charlton Heston and keeps saying, why I oughta. I just caught a genetic disorder. I just scored a red genetic disease. I just caught a genetic disorder. Just scored a red genetic. That's deeper than cosmetic. Scored a red genetic. Caught the fortune in prosthetics. Scored a red genetic. Do you find this pathetic? I just scored a red genetic disease.
See, so there was Rex Oedipus with bits falling off him all over the place at the start of the God's Show. My brother-in-law was in an elevator where he worked, and he heard this guy singing, genetic. He did a double take. He'd put it on the Office intranet or whatever it was in those days, years ago, and it had captured this guy's imagination at least. Anyway, that's the show for today. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Or yourselves. There was a Freudian slip. There may only be one person listening. If so, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Next week, I'm going to play you some of my children's songs. Go to markclark.com.au if you want to have a listen to some more tunes. Bye.